if you've got something for next week, that'd be great. Right. So for now, we're just going to start. Let me just, one more person in the waiting room. Here she comes. So normal setup position, start of the class as normal. So feet hip width apart, feet making the number 11, weight nice and evenly distributed. We're just going to find our neutral spine, core engagement. We're going to rock forwards over the balls of the feet, over the big toes, and then come back to centre. Let's just find that core engagement as we're rocking forwards, and then maintaining that core engagement as we come back to centre. Finding neutral with the pelvis now, so keeping those knees nice and soft. We're just going to really squeeze that tailbone between the legs and then arch the pelvis forwards, really sticking that bottom out behind and then squeezing up and arching back. Just loosening off through that lower back. So we're going to find that midpoint now, so we're just going to slightly tuck that tailbone under, hip bones nice and level, drawing up through the pelvic floor as well there, so everything feels nice and tight around the centre. Crown of the head up towards the ceiling, shoulders sliding down and back, and we'll just do some shoulder rolls. So we're just going to start to inhale as we bring the shoulders up, and exhale as we slide those shoulder blades down. Hi Helen. I don't think she can hear me yet. And slide. So let's just get the breath, that nice circular breath going. So nice inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. So maintaining that core engagement, maintaining that nice tall spine, and finally sliding those shoulder blades down the back of the back. We're going to bring the right arm up towards the ceiling and take it into our side bend. So reaching tall up towards the ceiling, sliding that left hand down towards the outside of the left knee, feeling that space in between that bottom right rib and hip, and then exhale it as we come back to centre. Really use the obliques there, so the side of the waist to pull you back up. Let's go for one more on this side. So sliding that hand down towards the outside of the knee, and exhale as we come back up. Lovely. Let's do exactly the same on the other side. So just switch over, left arm up. Inhale, breath as we exhale, slide the hand down towards the knee. Feel that space down the left-hand side of the waist. And exhale, really using those obliques to pull you back up to centre. Last one. Sliding down. Reach that arm down. And exhale as we come back to centre. Lovely. Bringing the hands behind the head now. So pushing the head back into the hands. Try not to arch through the spine. Keep that tailbone tucked under. Hip bones facing the front. We're just going to rotate through to one side. And inhale it back. Exhale it through. Keeping those hips level. I can never talk when I do this one. All the air goes out my lungs. Let's just do one more to each side. Exhale it through. Inhale it back to centre. Last one. And back to centre. And just relax the arms down to the side. So now we're going to work in from a turnout position. So the feet need to be making a V shape. We're going to squeeze the heels together, squeeze the legs together, almost like we're zipping up from the heel all the way up to the pelvic floor. And then all I want you to do is transfer the weight over to the left foot, keeping the right leg nice and straight. We're just going to slide out to the side. And then keeping that leg straight, we're going to squeeze those legs back together. So really working those inner thighs, sliding out to the side and squeezing back together. This is where it's easy if you've got something to lean on for balance there. Imagine if you had a little chair or something. And slide. We're going to take the foot out, staying in turnout, so the knees pointing out to the side, and place that heel down onto the floor. Widening out through the legs, keeping in turnout. We're going to take it down into a plie. Andrew will like this bit of ballet. And we're going to send the knees out over the feet, so keeping those hips nice and open, coming down to a nice deep squat, really. And then exhale as we drive up through the heels, nice and slowly out of that squat. That's it, lovely. So inhaling as we come down, nice and slow. Exhale, spine should be nice and upright at this point as well, so we're not leaning forwards. Exhale, up, driving through the heels, up and out, that's it, lovely. Let's go for 3 more. Making sure those knees are traveling out. Try not to let the knees collapse in, and exhale as we push back up. So again, watching my spine on this one, we're traveling down a brick wall, not leaning forwards, not leaning backwards. Exhale and push back up. So you should start to feel that in the quads now. We're going to come down and we're going to stay down on this one. We're going to right heel raise, so just lifting up with the right heel and then placing it back down. Let's go for 5 more heel raises. Lovely. Keeping that spine nice and tall, crown the head towards the ceiling. Last 3. Can you imagine doing an hour of bar? Hard. And last 1. Heel's going to stay up. We're going to pulse it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Heel comes down, drive up nice and slowly, back up and back out. So you should feel a bit spicy there in the quads. We're going to go down, we're going to do the other side now. So let's start with our plie squats. So knees travel out, let's go for 4 this time, nice and deep. And pushing back up through the heels. 3, last 3. Knees travel out. 2, spine stays nice and straight. And last 1, we're going to stay down. So coming down into our plie, and then heel raise with the left heel. We're going for 8, 7, 6, 5, make you really pleased I've done this course, 3, 2, and last 1, heel stays up. Let's pulse it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Heel goes down. Drive it up through the heels. Give those legs a little bit of a shake off. There's your little taster into bar. As you can imagine, doing half an hour of that's probably enough. Right, now let's take it into our roll down. So a nice stretchy one now. Arms down by the side. Tailbone nicely tucked under. We're going to take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we're going to bring the chin towards the chest. Round those shoulders forwards. We're peeling the spine away from that imaginary brick wall behind us. And just start to allow the upper body, the arms, the head to start feeling nice and heavy and relaxed. Coming all the way down as far as the hamstrings will allow. And let's just flop. So give the head a little nod, yes, a little shake, no. Help to switch off those neck muscles. No creases in the back of the neck there. Take a nice inhale breath here. As we exhale, we're drawing that tummy button away from the thighs, pushing up into the spine as we roll back up and roll back out. Coming up nice and slow. Nice. Reset of the shoulders there. Shoulders down and back. Let's walk into the end of our mat. We're going to roll down and walk out into our plank. So take an inhale breath to prepare. Tailbone stays tucked under. Chin comes towards the chest. Oh, I'm out of breath now. Arms feel heavy. Head starts to feel heavy. Keep that tummy button drawn up towards the spine. And flop. See if we can go a little bit further this time. If you need to bend the knees to get down, get the hands down towards the floor, please do. Take an inhale breath now. Core switched on, main focus core. We're going to walk it out into our plank. So just walking down the mat, nice and slowly, coming into plank. So wrists underneath shoulders, nice and low at the bottom, but not too low, so we're hanging the hips. If this is too much, come down into our 3/4 plank. So both knees down on the floor. And if we are in three-quarter plank, we're just going to raise up through one knee and lower back down. Raise up through the other knee and lower back down. If we're up in full plank, same thing. So pushing the floor away, we're going to knee tap. So we're going to kiss the floor with the knee and then straighten out through the leg. Keeping those hips nice and still. Let's go for 2 more to each side. Last ones. And last one. And then back into our plank, popping one knee down, popping the other knee down. Have a sit back into the heels. Take it into child's pose. Some nice deep breaths, breathing into the side of the ribs, breathing into the bottom of the lungs. Stretch out across the rib cage there. Nice deep breaths. And then we're going to come up into all fours now. So 4-point kneeling. Wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Just 1 second. We're going to slide the left leg out to the side. So the foot is in line with the knee. Hips are level. We're going to take an inhale breath as we bring the left hand up from the floor. Tap the left shoulder and then reach up towards the ceiling, working that rotation into the spine, bend through the elbow, tap, and straight back down again. This is our level 1 exercise. We come up, we tap, we reach, we tap, and we lower. So that's level 1. Level 2, we come up onto the toe, behind that right toe, onto the balls of the feet. Same thing again. Tap and reach, tap and lower. Let's go for 2 more on this side. And lower. And last one. So working those obliques there as well. And lower it back down. Well done. If the right knee's not already down, pop the right knee down onto the floor. Have a sit back into that right heel, leaving that left leg out to the side. Getting a nice stretch there into the hip. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So back up into our 4-point kneeling. Bring that left knee back underneath the hip. I'm just going to turn to face you. Take my socks off, a bit warm now. 4-point kneeling to begin with. We're going to send that right leg out to the sides. The foot is in line with the knee and the foot is flat to the floor as well. So, right hand this time. So we lift the right hand up from the mat, tap the right shoulder and then rotate and reach up towards the ceiling. Tap the shoulder and straight back down again. Level 1. Level 2, we come up onto that left foot. So bringing that left knee up off the floor, same thing again, rotate, tap, and lower. Perfect. Lovely, Kina. Well done, Susie, looks good. Let's go for 2 more. And lower. Last one. Reach, tap, and lower. Bring that left knee down to the floor if it's not already. Have a sit back into that left heel, leaving that right leg extended out to the side. Feel that stretch into the hip. And release. Well done. We're then going to come towards the front of our mats. In seated position, working some half roll downs and a bit of articulating through the spine. So the feet want to be hip width apart. Let me just move my camera so you can see me. So we're going to grab behind the thighs, just above the knee, hands rested, feet hip width apart. We're sat nice and tall on those sit bones. So crown of the head towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath here. Exhale, pelvic tilt. So we're rolling onto the back of the sit bones, extending through the arms, trying to get the waistband of the trousers as close to the floor as we can. Really scooping out those lower abdominals. Take an inhale breath here, and then exhale. Using the hands as well a little bit here to guide you. We're coming back up onto the top of the sit bones, lengthening the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. So inhale breath, exhale. Tilt the pelvis first. We're coming back. Fully extend and straighten out through the elbows. Inhale breath here, and exhale as we come back. Nice and tall in the center, growing through the spine each time. Let's go down and stay down on this one. So tilt, traveling back, waistband as close to the floor as we can. And then with the hands guiding you, lower abdominals scooped out, we're going to tabletop with the right leg. And lowering back down. So really use the core to pull that knee up into tabletop positions. The pelvis should stay nice and still. So the only movements happening is in the leg. Let's go for one more on each side after this one. So really feel those lower abdominals hollowing out. Exhale as we raise. Inhale as we lower. Last one. And then placing the foot back down onto the floor. Inhale breath. Exhale, coming back onto the sit bones. Top of the sit bones, lengthening the spine at the top. Now we're going to take the arms away. If you want to bring the arms back, hands back underneath the thighs, that's absolutely fine. Have a little go without there. You might be able to get a little bit lower down. So relaxing the shoulders. Inhale, breath here. Exhale as we tilt. And going back, keeping that pelvis nice and still. Shoulders down and back, neck nice and long. We're going to hold it here. Again, we're going to march. So we're going to lift up through the right knee and slowly place back down. Keeping that pelvis as still and as quiet as we can. So try not to shift through the pelvis there. Only movements happening is in the leg. Let's go for one more to each side. Exhale, raise. Inhale, lower. Last one. Exhale, up. Inhale, lower. Heels come back down. We're slowly placing one vertebrae at a time down onto the mat. Well done. Bringing the arms down to the side. We're going to walk the feet up towards the bottom, so the heels are directly underneath the knees. I want you to think about having a tennis ball in between the knees. We're going to try and keep the knees tennis ball distance apart, adding a bit of a squeeze onto that tennis ball as well as we take it up into our shoulder bridge. So at the moment we should have a nice neutral spine, nice little gap between the lower back and the mat. Take an inhale breath. As we exhale, I want you to imprint the spine down into the mat, lifting the pubic bone higher than the hip bone so we start to peel the spine up from the floor. This is when we need to make sure we visualize that tennis ball. So keeping the knees tennis ball distance apart, squeezing the glutes up into a nice high bridge. Inhale, breath here, and then exhale. We're lengthening the spine down along the floor. Control, control, control. One vertebrae at a time, keeping the knees tennis ball distance apart. Coming back onto the tailbone, back into neutral spine. Inhale, breath, and exhale. We're going to imprint. So pushing that lower back down into the floor, squeezing that tennis ball between the knees, squeezing those hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath here, and exhale as we start to peel the spine back down, squeezing that tennis ball all the time, controlling the spine down. Take an inhale breath as we're in neutral. Exhale, imprint. Start to peel that spine up. Squeeze that tennis ball. We're going to hold it up in bridge now. Nice high bridge, hip bones are level. I want you to think about, without moving the feet, pulling the heels back towards the bottom. So almost like you're trying to crinkle up the mat. You should start to engage through the hamstrings there as well, just by doing that simple pull with the heels up towards the bottom. Take an inhale breath, exhale. Keep pulling the heels up towards the bottom without actually moving the feet, and slowly place the spine back down, one vertebrae at a time. Let's go again. Take an inhale breath, exhale, tilt the pelvis, imprint, squeezing up with the hips, squeezing those heels back towards the bottom. We're going to heel raise, right heel. So we're going to come up onto the ball of the right foot, keeping the hips level and lowering back down. We're going to come up with the left heel and then come back down. Let's keep going. Alternate heel raises, lift and lower. Really squeeze those hips as high as we can up towards the ceiling. If we can, squeeze the tennis ball, come up with both heels and lower both heels. Let's go for 4 more. 3, 2, really working those glutes. The glutes are what keeping us up in bridge. And last one, up onto the toes. We're going to stay on the toes as we come down from the bridge. Take an inhale breath as we exhale. Slowly start to place the spine, one vertebrae at a time, back down onto the floor. So you should have felt some hamstring activation there as we came up off the heels. So we're going to stay in neutral spine now. So a slight gap between the lower back and the mat. Keeping the pelvis as still as we can. Just walk the feet a little bit further away from the bottom. And we're going to start with level 1 scissors. So keeping that neutral spine, keeping those hips nice and still. We're bringing the right leg up into tabletop without the spine lifting. And then lowering back down. Exhale, left leg comes up to tabletop position. You can pop the hands on the hips here just to make sure there's there's no movement from the pelvis. So just going alternate legs, one leg, then the other, working in neutral. So it's a lot harder to maintain neutral than it is imprint. If you feel it in the lower back, revert to imprint. We're going to make this slightly harder now, if you like. So we're going to lift the left leg up and we're going to cross the legs as they are in the air and tap. Lower and tap. So we've just increased the weight into that lever. Legs crossing in the air. Core working really hard not to lift up from the floor. If you want to make this even harder again, we're going to turn to imprint for this one. We're going to lift up through the head and shoulders, lengthen out through the legs, and work with straight legs. We can add our leg pull into level 3 scissors as we're up in imprint, getting a nice stretch down the back of the legs. Grabbing the leg above or below the knee. Let's go for 3 more on each leg. Keep breathing, nice deep breaths. Keeping that pelvis as still as we can still. And the last ones. And last one. And bend through the knees, hug the knees into the chest. Relax the abdominals, have a little roll around. Next exercise. We're going to be working a little bit with neutral spine this time. So popping the feet back down to the floor. Neutral spine, hip bones and pubic bone level. Imprint, pubic bones higher than the hip bones. So we're going for neutral spine. So we're on one nice straight level there with the hip bone and the pubic bone. Arms are coming up towards the ceiling, but anchoring the shoulders down into the floor. We're going to bring the first leg up into tabletop position. and bring the second leg up into tabletop position, maintaining that neutral spine. We're going with arms first. I want you to inhale as the arms come behind the head without increasing the length between the rib, bottom rib and hip. As we exhale, we're bringing those arms back above the shoulders. So it's an inhale breath, arms travel back. Don't worry if you don't go all the way down to the floor, it's fine. Exhale. Bring those arms back up above the shoulders. Let's keep that going. See how you're getting on. So we're just working with arms, perfect, Jill, it's lovely. Nice, Pippa. Right, let's do one more with arms. So bring those arms back up towards the ceiling, above the shoulders, palms facing. Anchor those shoulders back into the mat. We're then going to work with legs. So we're working single leg stretch. So level one, we're lengthening the leg up and out, and then bring it back to center. So it's up, out, and bring it back to center. No movement from the hips. If you want to work a little bit harder, send the leg further out, more towards the floor, so a bit lower as the leg travels out. Really imagine somebody's pulling that leg away from you. Don't allow that spine to lift. If you're struggling to maintain neutral, push that spine down into the mat, into our imprint. I hope that all makes sense. It's quite hard to describe. If you want to make this even harder again, come back to center. We're going to work arms and legs at the same time. So as the leg travels out, arms travel behind the head. Lengthen. Exhale, everything back to center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring everything back to center. So let's keep that going. Let's go for two more on each side. Nice, deep, nice, exaggerated exhale breath. That's the word I was looking for. Last ones. And last one. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Bring it back to center. Well done. Pop one foot down to the floor. Pop the other foot down to the floor. Bring the arms out to the side. Level with the shoulders. Palms facing up. So keep the shoulders nice and open. We're going to step the feet out to the sides of the mat or beyond. Have a nice stretch now. So take an inhale breath as we exhale. We're rolling the knees in one direction, keeping the hips on the floor. Roll the head in the opposite direction. So get a nice stretch across the waist there. Deep breaths, really breathing into the bottom of the rib cage. And then bringing the knees through the center and up and over to the other side. Knees come down, head rolls away from the knees. Feel that stretch into the side of the waist. And then bringing the legs back to center again. We're going to walk the feet back onto the mat. Keeping our neutral spine position, we're going to bring the hands behind the head now. We're just simply to support the weight of the head. So elbows out nice and wide. Take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we're going to bring the chin towards the chest and we're coming up off the mat with the shoulders, squeezing up, keeping those hips level, keeping that neutral pelvis. Inhale breath here. And then exhale, slowly place the spine back down. So controlling it all the way back to the floor. Inhale, breath, exhale. So hip bones and pubic bone are level, pushing up. Inhale as we hold, and exhale as we come back down with control. So the hands are just supporting the weight of the head here so the neck doesn't tire. Exhale up. Inhale, hold. Exhale, come back down. On this next one, we're going to stay up. Chin comes towards the chest. Peel those shoulder blades up from the floor. We're going to grab hold behind the thighs And we're going to come up a little bit further, keeping that neutral pelvis. Hard bit now, we're going to bring the hands back behind the head without lowering down at all, and then slowly place the spine back down onto the floor. So inhale, breath, exhale, chin comes towards the chest, peel those shoulder blades up, grab hold behind the thighs, pull up a little bit further, staying lifted. We're going to bring the hands back behind the head and slowly place the spine and shoulder blades back down to the floor. Let's keep that going. Exhale, coming up. Inhale, we reach. Exhale, we come up a little bit further. Keeping that neutral pelvis, hands come behind. And slowly place the spine back down. Let's go 2 more times. Exhaling up. Inhale, we reach. Coming up a little bit further. Don't drop as the hands come behind the head. And slowly placing back down to the floor. Last one. Exhale, we come up. Inhale, we reach. Exhale, come up a little bit further, keeping neutral pelvis. Hands come behind. And slowly control it back down to the floor. Whew. Quick breather. Nice deep breaths. Relax those abdominals. So now we're going to work a crisscross exercise, and I promise we'll do something other than core. So taking an inhale breath, same thing again. Exhale, we'll lift, peel those shoulder blades up from the floor. Inhale, right arm comes up. We're going to tap the right hand on top of the left knee, and then bring the hand back behind the head, transferring over to the other side. So looking down the side of the left knee, left hand comes up, tap the right kneecap, and back through the center. So rest at any point if you need to. We're just coming up and over. So by lengthening out through this arm, we're guiding the body across. So we're lifting up and out. And back through the center. 2 more on each side. Up and over. Keeping those knees nice and still. So the only rotation that's happening here is from the spine, the waist, and last ones. Lovely, well done. So, abs should be screaming now, hand comes behind the head. We lower the head and shoulders back down to the floor. So you should have felt that just underneath those bottom ribs, working across the waist into our obliques for that one. So bringing the knees up to a nice little knee hug. Have a little roll. Relax the abdominals. And then placing the feet back down onto the floor, taking it out into a full body stretch. This time lifting the spine up from the mat. Feel the length down the abdominals. Nice deep breaths. Stretch out across the rib cage. And then we're going to come up into a full roll up. So using those tired abdominals now, arms come up towards the ceiling. Anchor the shoulders down into the floor. Take an inhale breath here as we exhale. You can pop a little bend into the knee here as well, I should have said. Inhale to prepare, exhale. Chin comes towards the chest. We're going to start to peel the spine up from the floor, 1 vertebrae at a time. If you need to use the elbow there for a little bit of assistance, that's fine. Sit nice and tall at the top. We're going to spine stretch first. So we're going to reach forwards as if we're reaching over a big beach ball on the lap. Reaching the arms forwards, pulling the waist back. Work that C curve into the spine. Lovely. And let's go down 1 more time. So lengthen through the spine, sat nice and tall on those sit bones. If you need to put that bend into the knee there, that's fine. Inhale, breath. Exhale, pelvic tilt. Slowly start to place that spine back down, 1 vertebrae at a time. So really articulating through the spine, taking it out into full body stretch, lifting the spine up from the mat there. Nice deep inhale breath, exhale, bring those arms back up towards the ceiling. Anchor the shoulders down first, bending through the knee if you want to. Inhale, breath, exhale. Chin comes towards the chest first. Lengthen through the back of the neck as we start to peel the spine up. At that point, you can use your elbow if you need. We're going to sit nice and tall at the top. And this time we're going to forward fold. So just leading with the chest, trying to keep the spine nice and long and lengthened, feeling that pull down the back of the legs this time. Hold it there for 3, 2, and 1, and release. Well done. So, hammering through them tonight. So let's work a couple of spine twists now, seated spine twists. So sat nice and tall on the sit bones can be quite difficult with the legs fully extended. So if you want to pop that bend into the knee, so the heels are level, if that makes it easy to sit tall, then do that. If you're okay with straight legs, that's also fine. So we're going to bring the hands behind the head, pushing the head back into the hands. So we shouldn't be able to see the elbows here. So say we have got that bend in the knee. Aim of this exercise is to keep those heels level. So take an inhale breath in the center. As we exhale with a nice tall long spine, we're going to rotate through to one side and then inhale it back to center. The minute that you feel that your legs shortening is the minute we've lost that pelvic stability, which is why we want to be keeping those heels on the same level. So we're just going to rotate, keeping those elbows nice and wide. Inhale it back through, exhale, twist. Let's go for 2 more. Imagine someone's got a piece of string from the crown of the head pulling you up towards the ceiling there. And then bring it back to center. Well done. And relax the arms down. So we're going to come into side lying now. A little bit of work on the obliques first with a modified side plank. So we're going to bring the elbow directly underneath the shoulder. I want you to push the floor away with the elbow. We're keeping this underneath leg bent and the top leg lengthened. So we've got a nice strong triangle there between the waist and between the mat. So we're going to come up into side plank. So pushing into this bottom knee as well. Lift, bringing this top arm level with the shoulder. Take an inhale breath, pushing the floor away with the elbow, and then exhale as we bring the hip all the way back down again. So it's an exhale breath as we come up. Arm comes directly above the shoulder. Squeeze those hips up nice and high. Inhale, breath. Exhale, pop the hips back down onto the floor. That looks lovely. Let's go again. Let's go for 3 more. So squeeze those hips up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And slowly bring those hips back down. Last 2. Exhaling up. Making sure that shoulder is well away from the ear. Really lift up through that shoulder and lower. Last one. Inhale, breath. Exhale. We should be feeling this in the underneath side of the waist. Push those hips up. See if we can push a little bit higher. For 3, 2, 1, and lower it back down. Well done. Good work. Coming all the way down onto our sides now, we're going to do a glute exercise. We did do this one on Friday as well, so apologies if you were here on Friday, but it's quite a good one for the glutes. So we're going to bend this underneath leg now into a tabletop position, so the knee is in line with this bottom hip and the heels directly underneath the knee, so 90 degrees, and then lengthening this top leg level with the body. So if ideally head wants to be relaxed onto the arm, so in one nice straight line, hips are stacked one on top of the other. So I like to put my hand on the hip to make sure again we're not any movement from the hip. The hip is nice and stable. So the leg starts hip level and then exhale, we lift. Squeezing from the side of the bottom, inhale, lowering back down. Making sure the knee and the top of the foot stay facing the front. So we're not externally rotating the leg out. That's it. That looks good. Perfect. Let's go for 3 more. Squeeze. 2. And last one. Exhale, lift. You should feel like the side of the hip there. Inhale, lower. Leg comes back level with this top hip. And we're going to sweep the leg forwards. Keeping the leg parallel with the floor. When the knees are parallel, we're going to raise. So we're going to lift, lower, and sweep that leg back level with the body. And then we're going back into our sweep forwards. Leg stays parallel with the floor. Lift, lower, and back. Making sure we've still got that little bit of space in between the waist and the mat. So the core still working. Hips stay nice and still. Let's go for 3 more. 1. Lift, lower, and sweep it back. Last 2. You can start to feel the burn now into the glutes. And the last one. So we're going to lift and lower. We're going to stay with the leg out in front now. Relax that ankle so the toe flops down towards the floor. Keeping this hip nice and still. We're just going to kiss the floor with the toe and lift that leg back up to hip level. So we're going to go for 5, 4, 3. Ooh, this is unpleasant. Last 2. And last 1. Tap and lift. We're going to bring that leg back level with the body and then pop the foot down to the floor. Give the bottom a really good rub there. Well done. You can tell I've been reading my glute book over Christmas. Dreaded glute book. And then we're going to come down onto our fronts. So that was working glute med, side of the bottom. We're going to do a bit of spine work and glute max work, so big muscle in the bottom now. So bringing the hands underneath the forehead, one hand on top of the other, forehead down onto the floor. Again, let's find neutral. So you want to be pushing that pubic bone down into the floor, drawing the tummy button up towards the spine. Let's start with upper back. So take an inhale breath here. As we exhale, we're coming up into a little hover. So lifting it with the head and shoulders. We're going to hold it for 3, keeping that tummy button lifted. 2 and 1. And then slowly bring the spine back down, bring the head back down. Let's go again. Take an inhale breath, keeping that pubic bone pressed down. Exhale as we lift. Imagine we've got a piece of ice underneath the tummy button. We don't want that ice to melt. Hold it here for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lower it back down. Let's go again. Exhale, breath, lift, hover. So it's not a massive lift at all. Level 1, stay there. Level 2, bring those arms out in front. So just increase that lever length, extend the arms and hold it for 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands back and then inhale back down to the floor. Let's go 3 more reps. Exhale it up. Level 1s, we stay here. Level 2s, extend the arms, feel those shoulders work, feel that upper spine working. 3, great exercise if you've been sat at a desk all day. 2, 1, hands come back. Inhale, lower. Last 2 reps. Inhale, breath. Exhale it up. Stay here, level 1. Level 2, arms come out. Remember that ice underneath the tummy button. Keep nice and strong through the core. 1, hands come back. Inhale it down. Last one. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift. Hold it here. Or extend to make it slightly harder. For 3, 2, 1. Hands come back, release back down to the floor. Well done. We're now going to move on to lower back and glutes. So relaxing the head down, so we're not using the upper spine now. We're going to push that pubic bone down, really lengthen out through the legs, engage those quads. We're going to lift the right leg as straight as we can up from the floor, pushing that right hip down into the mat. Squeeze that right glute. Inhale, lower back down. Same on the left side, so pushing the left hip down, lengthen through that left leg, squeeze that left glute, and lower. So level 1, we're going alternate legs. Level 2, pushing both hips down, squeeze both glutes, lift and lengthen. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. If you want to work the whole of the posterior chain, we come up like we did in the first exercise, so hover head and shoulders, and same thing again, either alternate legs or both legs, keeping those legs as straight as we can. We're going to go for 4 more lifts. 1. Keep that tummy button lifted. 2. 3, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And last one, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Well done. Bring the head and shoulders down as well if you came up with both. Hands underneath the shoulders. Pushing up onto all fours. Bring those knees in. Let's take it into a nice cat stretch. So spread the fingers, soften the elbows, take an inhale breath as we exhale. Scoop the tailbone under, get that stretch into the lower back. Chin comes towards the chest, push up into the spine. Nice release stretch. Nice deep breaths. And release, well done. We're then going to travel around, feet in the opposite direction. Start with our obliques, with our modified side plank. So elbow directly underneath the shoulder. Sorry, I'm marching through it tonight, aren't I? Sorry, I feel like a military first. So bottom leg bent, top leg lengthened. Create that nice strong triangle first. We're going to take an inhale breath, making sure this shoulder stays away from the ear. We're going to push the hips up towards the ceiling, lengthen that arm, level with the shoulder, no further, and then slowly bring the hips back down. Control it all back down. So we're working on the downward phase as much as we are on the upward phase. So lift, squeeze the hips up, and lower it back down. Making sure that shoulder doesn't creep up towards the ear. Let's go again. Let's go for 3 more. Lift. And lower. Last 2. So what we want to be doing is create some rolls on this inside of the waist. We're going to really push up. Really shorten that distance between that bottom rib and hip. And lower. Last 1. Making sure that shoulder's away. Coming up. Good work for the shoulders as well, this one. And hold. 3, 2, 1. And lower it back down. Well done. And then coming all the way down. If you wanted to bob a cushion underneath the head for this one, you could do. We're just basically looking for neck in line with spine. So keeping that bottom leg bent, knee level with the hip, top leg extended, level with the body. So pop your hand on the hip there just to make sure there's no movement. And then we're starting with simple leg raises, making sure everything stays facing the front. Squeeze that leg up. Inhale, control back down. Perfect, lovely. Last 2 leg raises before we add in our sweep. So bring the leg level with that top hip. Leg stays parallel with the floor as we sweep the leg forwards. And then we raise at the front, lower, and sweep back. Level with the body, control, making sure we're not wobbling around on the hips. And lift. Making sure that waist's not sunk into the mat. Again, imagine you've got an ice cube underneath the waist. We don't want it to melt. Last two. And last one. Leg sweeps back, leg comes forward. We lift, last lift, and lower. Allow the ankle to relax so the foot's nice and floppy. And now we're going to tap, we're going to kiss the floor with that big toe and lift. So it's a very small movement, tap and lift. Let's go, last 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, and tap and lift. 1, well done. Bring that leg back, level with the body, and allow the foot to fall down to the floor. Give that bottom a really good rub there. Well done. I don't know where the time's gone tonight. Let's roll it onto our backs. We'll stretch the glutes out now. So again, make sure you have imprint or neutral, nice strong neutral spine. We're going to bring the foot across the knee. If that's enough of a stretch for you, that's fine, just stay there. If not, we're going to bring the leg up, other leg up into tabletop position. Grab hold of the foot and the ankle. Feel that lovely stretch into the glutes there. To deepen that stretch, we're going to lift the spine up from the mat. So create some space underneath the spine. Feel a deeper stretch into the glutes. We're just going to hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then push the spine down before we bring the foot down towards the floor so we don't hurt that lower back. Bringing the other foot down, same thing on the other side. So put the foot across the knee. If you wanted to lift the spine up in this position as well, that should deepen the stretch a little bit for you. If not, bring that leg up into tabletop. Grab hold of the ankle and then push the spine up away from the mat. Just enjoy that nice glute stretch. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring the spine down before we pop the foot down. Bring the other foot down. Take it out into full body stretch now. So really lengthen through the arms and legs. Imagine somebody's pulling the hands and feet away from each other and then lift up through the spine again. Really feel some length through the abdominals. Nice deep breaths. We're going to roll it up into seated now. So just bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Anchor the shoulders down. Pop that bend in the knee if you want. Inhale, breath, exhale. Chin comes towards the chest. Lengthen through the back of the neck as we start to peel the spine up from the floor. Sitting nice and tall at the top, which is when we're going to widen out through the legs, taking the legs out nice and wide and reaching the upper body forwards. Again, leading with the chest. Feel that lovely stretch into the hips. Ooh, I hope you just didn't hear that big crack in my hip. Hold it there. Feel that stretch down the inner thighs. And then we're just going to take a little walk round to one side with the hands. Grabbing hold of the foot or the lower part of the leg again, leading with the chest. Try just to pull yourself down a little bit further into that stretch. And then walking the hands back through the center, full reach, over to the other side. Great, again, grabbing hold of the foot, lower part of the leg, leading with the chest, so we're not rounding through the spine. And then bring it back to center again. And then walking the hands back towards you. Restack the spine one vertebrae at a time. Well done. Bringing the legs together now. We're going to bend through the right leg. So the right foot is to the inside of the left knee. Reaching the left arm up towards the ceiling. Popping the right hand behind you, fingers pointing away. We're going to bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Using that, we're going to push into the leg and take a look over the right shoulder, rotating through the spine. And then bring it back to center, same on the other side. Straightening out through the right leg, left foot inside the right knee, popping that left hand behind you, fingers pointing away, right arm comes up, sit nice and tall, bringing the elbow to the outside of the knee, looking over that left shoulder, we're going to rotate, pushing into that knee, just to help us rotate a little bit further. Hold it there for 3, 2, 1, and bring it back to center. Well done. Coming down onto our fronts, nearly done. Take it into a nice cobra stretch. So just bring the feet out nice and wide, almost straddling the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders, fingers spread nice and wide. Inhale, breath here, keeping those hips down. Try to relax the bottom as we push the floor away, keeping those shoulders down and back. Chest nice and proud. Get that stretch down the front of the body. And then before we come up onto the knees, just slightly lower down halfway. Engage through the core, protect that lower spine. We're pushing up onto the knees, and we're going to sit it back between the heels this time, lowering that upper body down into the floor. Really try to bring the tailbone down towards the floor as well. And then we're going to come up onto all fours now. So bring the shoulders over the wrists. Bring the knees in underneath the hips. Soften through the elbows. Spread the fingers. Inhale, breath as we exhale. Chin comes towards the chest. Tailbone tucks under. Really look up into the navel there. Pushing up into the spine. And then arching down, so gently drop the spine down, take the gaze towards the end of the mat as we gently squeeze the shoulder blades together and stick out the bottom. And then bring it back to neutral spine now, so lengthen through the spine, push the floor away with the hands. We're going to turn the toes underneath. Inhale, breath, we're coming up into a knee hover on the exhale, so hover the knees and just slowly travel the weight back into the foot, back into the heels, push the floor away, bring the head through the arms there, feel that lovely stretch into the calf, and then just slowly start to walk back towards the feet, transfer the weight back to the feet again, back into our flop. So really relaxing the head, neck and shoulders there. Feel that lovely stretch into the back of the legs. And then deep inhale to prepare. As we exhale, engaging through the core, drawing that tummy button away from the thighs as we start to rebuild
Restack the spine, coming up nice and slowly. One vertebrae at a time, reaching the top. Big shoulder rolls as we reach